So if I put this right in my stomach and I grip down on the club, for me to get the club to about 45 degrees here, I'm gonna feel like my chest and shoulders are the primary piece taking that club away. There's some hip turn going on there, but it's primarily chest and shoulders. And I like to do this till about 45. Not all the way, that's gonna be a little too much turn, just till about 45. I take that down, I feel the same thing now without the club in my stomach, and I feel my chest and shoulders leading the way. The butt of the club stays towards me. I can feel like the club head's a little bit up and out outside my hands early. So chest and shoulders, butt of the club towards me. Hey guys, Eric here out at the Don Law Golf Academy at Osprey Point Golf Club in Boca Raton, Florida. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to take the club away correctly. One of the most common questions golfers ask me. We're going to talk about that today. Going to give you a few simple cues and then two of my favorite drills to help you with that. Before we dive in, as you guys are watching, if you could click and smash that gray thumbs up like button, would really help us out. I would really appreciate that. Helps YouTube send our videos out to more people. Ultimately, we can help more golfers. Click the subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below. Let's keep the conversation going during the video and beyond the video. Would be awesome. Would also love to talk to you quickly about CogornoGolf.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, or even if you have already, would urge you to reconsider so you and I can work together on your game. We really give you everything you need to take your game to the next level. You send us in your swings, we build you a customized, specific practice plan that I think is even better than getting in-person coaching. People say all the time, hey, well, can I replicate the feels and having someone with me there in person? The answer is absolutely yes. And even better than that, we're with you there 24/7. So beyond or between your swing feedback, you ask as many questions as you want. We're there to guide you through. We're going to tell you the feels, give you the drills, give you the reps and the plan you need to really take your game to the next level. I know you're going to love it. Check out CogornoGolf.com. We'll put that down below. So how do we take the club away correctly? This is probably one of the most common things that has been asked since I started coaching a long time ago, and even now on Cogorno Golf, a lot of the people ask, hey, how do I take the club away correctly? So here's a couple cues that I would want to do. The good things, the bad things, and the drills to work on it. So when I take my setup position here, to me, taking the club away correctly, you really make or break it within the first foot. So from my setup position to the point where my hands get even with my right thigh is the first piece that we're gonna focus on, where you can make or break a lot of the things you do on the way back. We know your backswing and downswing is a series of reactions, a chain reaction where one little piece goes off, it causes other movements, a lot of impact, and downswing issues can happen right from taking the club away incorrectly. So what do we wanna do? What would be the good version? Here's my setup position. Let's assume our setup pieces are neutral, hands inside left thigh, ball position with the normal irons kind of up off my lead ear here. Everything's neutral. For me to get from here to my right leg, a couple things I want to have happen. Starting with the butt of the club. You can fix a lot of things by referencing where the butt of the club points, and you can see a lot of errors if you see where the butt of the club goes. Notice where my butt of the club starts, so inside my left thigh, and notice by the time I get to the point where my hands are even my thigh, where does the butt of the club point? It points right back at me, right towards the middle part of my body. Inside left thigh, middle part of my body. Notice when I do that, that club head has traveled basically right down the target line, just a smidge more in. The club face is still pointed at the golf ball, and the butt of the club points towards me. Now here would be the big error I see most often, is the butt of the club goes from pointed towards me to towards the target too quickly. Sometimes just a little bit, which would get the club face opening. Notice when the butt of the club goes towards the target, the club face opens, the toe gets too far behind the heel, and the club starts to roll inside my hands too much. Now I can avoid all of that, avoid the club face opening, avoid the roll by simply keeping the butt of the club pointed at me. Now for me to do that, there's a couple things that need to go along with it. You might have heard the phrase one piece or connected takeaway, and that's a kind of cliche in the golf world, but it's true, right? A lot of cliches are because they're true. Nothing different here with this. So from here to my right thigh, a couple pieces. What are the main things I feel or I want you to feel? Is it hands? Is it arms? Is it left arm, right arm, shoulder, chest, lower body? What takes the club away? And really it's more of a chest, shoulder, and arm motion. So when I go from here to get my hands to my right thigh, notice a couple things. Number one, there's gonna be a little bit of chest and shoulder turn. Basically what I want you to feel is as the butt of the club where the hands go, so does my shirt buttons. So butt of the club, hands go right, shirt buttons go right. So I'm not taking my hands back to my leg with absolutely no rotation at all. That's what this would look like. So immediately when I do with no upper body rotation, my arms get disconnected. My right arm gets disconnected, left arm too across my chest. So as my hands go, the shirt buttons go, and the butt of the club stays pointed towards me. I wouldn't make it any more complicated than that if you don't need to. Butt of the club towards me, the rate at which this butt of the club moves to the right, my shirt buttons follow right along with it. And what I want to avoid is the butt of the club going here too much. Now, from here to the point where I get the club parallel to the ground, all that's really happening is there's a little bit of a soft fold of the right arm and a little bit of a hinge of the wrist. So I don't really want too much right arm folding from setup to the right leg. I don't really want too much hinge added. I just want this all to be neutral, and then a little bit of a soft hinge, a little bit of a soft fold. From the point of my setup to where the club's parallel, you know, I've got maybe 30 degrees of chest and shoulder rotation. And from here to there, I've got only about 15 degrees of hip rotation. So my chest and shoulders have turned twice the amount my hips have by the time the club's parallel to the ground, which answers the question of what drives or leads the takeaway. It's the chest and shoulders. They turn twice as much as my hips. So I don't want to take it away and feel my belt buckle and my shirt buttons at the same exact rate. That's too much hip turn. I want to feel a little bit more chest and shoulders early. A little bit more chest and shoulders early. And so I would start with the simple cue of the butt of the club staying towards you. And start with little half ones. I just got a 9-iron. Feel the butt of the club towards me and keep it feeling towards me again till about right leg, and even a little bit beyond that would be okay. That's going to neutralize the takeaway pieces. Let's just clip one out with that. So I'm going to focus on the butt of the club staying towards me until my hands get past my right thigh. And that, again, is going to clean up a lot of the takeaway issues you guys have with that one piece. And I'll give you a drill for that in a minute. And then the little piece that I'm going to feel in with that is my shirt buttons going along with the butt of the club. So butt of the club towards me. As the grip goes right, my shirt buttons go right. As the grip goes right, my shirt buttons go to the right. And that's going to neutralize a lot of the takeaway pieces. Now, how you practice this? There's a lot of takeaway options here. We've done several videos. Some of you guys have seen the shaft down the side of the club and the leg and the tee, and I love all those. One of the core things that I would put in here for someone to feel is putting the club right in the middle of your stomach, kind of right in your belt line, and gripping down about halfway on the shaft. I use this one a lot for people to feel the initial part of the takeaway. I see a lot of golfers, if you record yourself, the arms and hands get very disconnected from the body turn early. There's a lack of turn with the chest and shoulders and too much action with the arms and hands. So really to find neutral, you've got to exaggerate some of the opposite of that. Your body, upper body, chest and shoulders are going to feel like it's moving a little bit more, and the arms and hands are going to feel like they're doing less. So if I put this right in my stomach and I grip down on the club, for me to get the club to about 45 degrees here, I'm going to feel like my chest and shoulders are the primary piece taking that club away. There's some hip turn going on there, but it's primarily chest and shoulders. And I like to do this till about 45. Not all the way, that's going to be a little too much turn. Just till about 45. I take that down, I feel the same thing now without the club in my stomach, and I feel my chest and shoulders leading the way. The butt of the club stays towards me. I can feel like the club head's a little bit up and out outside my hands early. So chest and shoulders, butt of the club towards me. And that's going to be the main one that I'd like you to stick with in terms of a practice format. I would start here. And I would do that 1 or 2 good rehearsals, always using video feedback to confirm ideally. Bring the club up into my stomach. 1 or 2, really feel my shirt buttons moving to the right here. Butt of the club's obviously staying towards me because I can't not have it towards me in my stomach. And then I feel the same thing right there. It feels really good and connected early on. Club face stays pointed more towards the ball. Chest and shoulders moving it. That's a really nice way to get the swing started, especially if you're someone who's over the ball and you're a little antsy or you're kind of not sure what to do or how to get moving, thinking too much about a lot of other things. Sometimes bringing it back to something simple like this can help. Of course, before you get started, you can have a little waggle going on. You can have the club head tap, and if you see me, you always see a little waggle. Club goes down, comes up, little waggle. I like motion to start with, but my main cue in terms of my body of how to go is going to be more right there. So I got the pressure moving in my feet a little bit, but that's my mechanical cue. So there's movement, constant movement, chest and shoulders, butt of the club at me. And that's really where I would start with on that. Now, let's say you do that and you're someone who likes a little bit more structure or some different feels. The other way that I really like to do this is with a bucket drill. And this is a great one we've used, sync up the arms and body. So I put the bucket right in the middle of my chest, squeeze it together with my biceps. This one's a little bit more difficult. And I just want to get a sense, a feel here of getting the club taken away. Now all this does is does the same thing. Butt of the club towards me. My shirt buttons are going to move to the right as the grip moves. So I would do 1 or 2 rehearsals just to get a feel. This is a really good one, even just to warm up with before you hit, to sync up the arm motion. Same thing, I got some movement going. Butt of the club towards me, shirt buttons and grip back together. And this applies all clubs. Wedge shots, I'm doing this. Driver, I'm doing this. So I got a little motion, shirt buttons, hands together. And that should sync up a lot of the takeaway pieces. So that's the takeaway. That's how to take the club away. Those would be the main drivers. That's my point here. The upper body, the chest and shoulders rotates twice as much as the lower body in that early phase. Not a lot of hand action. Remember, if you do have a fault, like taking it way too inside too early, you likely need to exaggerate the opposite to find middle. Got a lot of other takeaway videos on that. I'm gonna go ahead and put another takeaway video, a card on the screen. If you guys like this, you could watch that, more detail on those exaggerations. If you wanna work on your takeaway, your backswing, any part of your game, I would love to be your coach. We'll put Cogorno Golf on the screen. Would love to see you there.